don't think we sound like robots anymore, Patrick. Is that good?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't hear anything to me that indicated there were any problems, so I can't tell you for sure. But hopefully, if we're okay, then we're okay.
You want to throw another beep boop?
Beep boop.
Center Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, we're here in the booth getting ready to watch Stephen Hanley against Ross Merriam. It's Amulet Titan versus Blue Moon, which is a really good matchup for Ross if he has a Blood Moon in his hand.
Good analysis. You usually leave that to me.
Ross will play a Scalding Tarn. Stephen started things off with a Ghost Quarter into an Amulet of Vigor, which is a very good start for him, and he can do some pretty good stuff. But we've got to remember, this deck doesn't have Summer Bloom anymore, so I'm not sure how nuts he can go. That's a Sakura Tribe Scout. Merriam will sacrifice a fetch land. I'm trying to really bring the analysis now.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised to see 4 Sakura Tribe Scouts. Part of the charm of playing decks like this to me is just blanking a lot of commonly played cards. And this thing just dies a lot. We'll find out in a moment.
It's really good if it lives.
Yep.
That's more analysis there. 2 for 2. It's dead.
Okay. Cool.
It's worse if it dies.
Right.
There.
Well, the best thing would have been for Ross to have a lightning bolt in his hand that was hard to use. That's my point.
Yeah. No, I think I got it. Ross has a Blood Moon in his hand.
Sweet.
I don't know if he has a third land.
We'll make up some of the time we lost on the technical issues.
That's a really good point. Ross drew another Blood Moon. So if I were Ross right now,
Break it down for me.
I would sack a fetch land, search for a
Okay.
basic, and then I would sack the other fetch land, search for a basic, and then I would cast Blood Moon. Ross is not going to do any of those things, which I'm a little surprised about. I am. He must have a different plan. As Tolaria West enters the battlefield tapped. Maybe he wants to protect his Blood Moon? Okay. Going to sack all 3 fetch lands.
There's also not a rush to deploy it if your opponent's just on 1-mana lands. And without any sort of cheat, even if Hanley had one of the Karus, that gets him to 5, so he's not threatening Primeval Titan.
It's all true? All right, here's Blood Moon now. No more messing around by Merriam. The fun police is here.
Hooray. Another reason for Ross wanting to wait is he may have wanted to crack the 3rd fetch land to get the 3rd island, so now his Cryptics are good.
Sure. Good
If he's
point.
not in a rush, he doesn't need to do it.
Stephen Hanley's going to Ghost Quarter himself in response to get another forest. This will allow him to actually be able to hardcast Primeval Titan and pay for Summoner's Pact.
Yeah, in the fantasy land scenario where the... I mean, might as well do it. I'm not saying this is raw, just that's ambitious, optimistic.
Ross could have all lands.
Yep.
And could draw all lands for the rest of the game. So there's that. Over to Hanley. Ancient Stirrings. Take a look at the top 5 cards. Take a colorless one along. It'll be a Simic Growth Chamber Mountain. Simic Growth Chamber Mountain will enter the battlefield untapped because it is a mountain. Relatively bit of a rules change there.
Good rules change, by the way. Non-basic lands are mountains, which means non-basic lands retain roughly 72% of their characteristics. Is not a good rule set.
I'm inclined to agree. Oh boy.
Who?
Keranos, huh? Let's take a look at this thing. It's been a minute since I've seen that. I used to find that with Birthing Pod. 3 blue, red, 6/5 indestructible. As long as your devotion to blue and red is less than 7, Keranos is not a creature. Reveal the first card you draw on each of your turns. Whenever you reveal a land card this way, draw a card. Whenever you reveal a non-land card this way, Keranos deals 3 damage to target creature or player.
Fun fact about this one. First preview card I ever got. Oh, look at that.
Main deck Reclamation Sage. All right.
We got a game.
First preview card continue?
Was Karen the first one I ever got was Keranos.
Oh, nice.
Wow. All right.
You don't see a main deck copy of Reclamation Sage all that often. See if there's anything else here for Hanley to do. Bajuka Bog. Destroy your entire graveyard, untap it. 3 mana. EE for, wow.
Yeah, now EE for 3 covers him here if Merriam has another Blood Moon. Okay.
We definitely have a game now. Okay, then. Remand will be the reveal. Deal 3 damage to something.
Though for Hanley, getting the Blood Moon off the battlefield is just step 1. He's still got to slog his way through the counter spells and removal and whatnot. But as you mentioned, we do have a game.
Merriam trying to decide if he wants to go upstairs with this or take care of the Reclamation Sage, I think. All right, he's gonna. Looks like he's gonna kill the Sage.
I suppose with E on 3, there's, you know, an argument for just going upstairs, but Hanley's 22. He'll get the permanent off the battlefield.
No land for Ross, he'll just pass the turn back. Hanley will pay for his pact. Now we'll head back over to Steven. Gemstone Mine, 3 mining counters. Pass turn back. Merriam is going to sacrifice a Scalding Tarn. See what land he wants to search up here. Maybe another basic island. Ross with 7 basic islands and 1 mountain. And of course, lands like Sulphur Falls, Scalding Tarn, Flooded Strand, and the like to facilitate this mana base that works underneath the Blood Moon. This will be a Vendilion Click.
Get a little more pressure on and see if you can bleed out this EE for something that is not a Blood Moon.
Titan will go to the bottom. New card coming here for Hanley. Keranos will reveal a Steam Vents, so Ross will get to draw a card. Picked up a copy of Electrolyze. There's an attack for 3. Hanley will fall down to 19. Steam Vents tapped. Merriam will pass. Let's go back over to Steven now. Merriam knows about Primeval Titan, doesn't know about the other 2. One of them is the Simic Growth Chamber. Growth Chamber on the battlefield will trigger the amulets. It'll enter untapped. Trigger from the bounce land. Going to float a blue off Teleria West and return Teleria West, and now transmit Teleria West with a blue floating from that Teleria West plus blue-green from the Simic Growth Chamber. Counter Souls will make for an uncounterable giant here. At least that's the plan. Hanley will pass. I'll say this much. I don't know Stephen Hanley. He knows how his deck works.
Yeah. No, this has been an impressive showing so far.
I don't even know if he'll win this game or this match, but he's got a pretty good idea of what's going on here. Electrolyze perhaps by Merriam? Yeah. He'll draw a card. Ross will reveal an island. Draw a copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Here we go.
No Teferis here. It's going to get a little interesting for Ross because I believe Ross does have another copy of Blood Moon in hand, just can't do anything with it right now.
Yeah, he's got to force the issue on that engineered explosive somehow.
Mm-hmm. I missed a stamp.
Hmm?
I missed a stamp.
What'd you miss?
Player has pregame effects.
Oh, yeah, ley line.
Yep. Catching up to you. Oh, I could cryptic command counter draw could happen this match. Okay. Now we're working. We're also playing the island he revealed from Keranos. He's going to play Jace now. And he'll brainstorm. So 1 is an opt, 2 is a Sulfur Falls, 3 appears to be a Snapcaster Mage.
How are we looking on Keranos' devotion here?
We're almost there.
We're close, right?
Yeah, I think we're 1 away.
I thought it was 7. Oh, yeah, it's
Counts
6.
itself.
Right, yep. Sweet. Because Ross would really like to turn up the pressure here a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And then by turning up the pressure, EE has to be blown up probably.
Yeah.
All right, Jace's Brainstorm is done resolving. Interesting that he's keeping Vendilion Click back on defense. I guess that's to protect Jace, perhaps?
Yeah, if Hanley's able to cobble together a hasted Primeval Titan, then you can block and bolt.
Giant's the name there with the Cavern of Souls. Primeval Titan is conveniently a giant. There will be a trigger. You mentioned giving the Titan haste with Amulet on the battlefield. That's not all that hard to do. Slayer Stronghold and Boros Garrison is the 1-2 punch that allow for that. There is Slayer Stronghold. There is Boros Garrison. There'll be a trigger there on the Garrison. To return a land, also, those 2 lands will trigger with the Amulet of Vigor. It looks like Bajuka Bog will be returned. And they'll be untapped, and they will target the Primeval Titan, which is just a little bit of shortcutting. That Titan will be given haste, +2/+0 and vigilance.
I think he pointed at Ross.
Yeah, I don't think he's attacking Jace.
Doesn't really care about the unsummon here. Hanley could just cast an uncounterable Primeval Titan again next turn. Do all this stuff with even more mana.
We got Vesuva and Sunholm. So now we'll take a look at Sunholm.
Well, if you're getting +2/+0 and then double strike, this is just 16. Ross is at 15.
Is Ross just dead?
Yeah, I mean this is double strike, and then you have the +2/+0 from the Slayer Stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
That gets you 16.
That just means Ross has to have something now. Did Merriam go the wrong route? Okay.
Yeah, I mean he can double jump here.
Oh, Keranos is on.
Now Keranos is awesome.
That was nice.
And indestructible too.
Yep. That's nice. He needed to add 1 more devotion. Snapcaster Mage allows him to do that.
It's the first time I've seen Keranos on in Modern.
It's pretty rare. Even during the birthing pod days, it's pretty rare to turn it on there. You could sometimes turn it on with Splinter Twin decks, I guess. But yeah, this is it's few and far between. Looks like Ross maybe wants to double block here. Save a little bit of damage, as Hanley did go for the win.
Well, if you block with something else, don't you risk the Keranos leaving combat? Like, don't you want the Keranos up in front right now?
Well, so if you block with something else, first strike damage, you deal lethal to Keranos and then the creature, and the regular damage you trample over. So like Keranos can only take 5 damage anyway, right? Like you're not hitting it twice with first strike and regular damage.
Yep.
So I think even if you were to block again, I think it would be fine. But yeah, I mean he's going to take 8, 16 minus 5, so 11. Should fall to 4, I believe. But prime.
Yeah, he's not dying, and I wouldn't want to lose devotion or lose the click to save 1 point of damage. So
got it. There's Tribe Scout. My question now is, can Ross win this turn?
well, he's got 11 and attacking on the table, he can unsummon the Sakura Tribal to clear out. If he finds a spell with the Gyarados, that's 14. From there, you only need a Bolt.
Let's see what this is. Snapcaster Mage, that'll work. See where he wants to deal the 3 to.
I mean, if you're trying to go for lethal this turn, then you want to go for 3 to Hanley, and then use the unsummon off of Jace to put it together. But I don't know if Ross has it rolled up or not.
He's going to brainstorm, maybe looking for a Bolt. Cryptic Command, Lightning Bolt.
Right. He can Snapcaster, Electrolyze, and then Bolt Hanley out.
Sulphur Falls. I think Merriam's found the way to victory here. Just needs to be careful about how much red mana he uses. There's Snap. Here's Electro. 1 and 1. Puts you to 13. Lightning Bolt you after this attack. That'll take care of it. All right, Ross Merriam's going to win what was actually a pretty close game 1.
That was great.
All things considered.
I thought it was going to be an easy win there with the Blood Moon, but Hanley with the main deck Engineer Explosives able to set it up. Looked like it might actually collapse there for Merriam, but the Gyarados, he was able to get the Devotion on, trade off the Primeval Titan, and kill Hanley on the way back. Great game.
We're going to watch more Blue Moon versus Amulet Titan in just a moment, but first, a few messages from our sponsors. We are back. Sutter Phillips, Patrick Sullivan getting ready to watch game number 2 between Stephen Hanley and Ross Merriam. That's Amulet Titan versus Blue Moon. Merriam wins game 1, so we'll start with Hanley and his sideboard of 3 Spell Pierce, 3 Obstinate Baloth, a Ghost Quarter, a Dismember, and a Braid, a Kozilek's Return, a Fire Spout, and Engineered Explosives, a Reclamation Sage, a Rurik Thar, the Unbowed, and a Hornet Queen.
So I like the extra explosives and Reclamation Sage to fight over specifically Blood Moon. The 3 Spell Pierces seem good for this matchup too, and I love the Rurik Thar.
Rurik Thar, one of my favorites. I love that card. We take a look at Merriam. He's got 3 Thing in the Ice, 2 Engineered Explosives, 2 Relic Progenitus, 2 Rose, 2 Dispel, Ceremonious Rejection, an Anger of the Gods, and a Gate, and an Abrade.
I probably want to get away from some of the cheap removal like Electrolyze and such. I like the copies of Negate here, Abrade. And that is about it.
Not going to change too much, right?
I don't think so. I think Ceremonious Rejection's too narrow. Explosives really isn't for this kind of matchup. Isn't a whole lot to Relic. I guess Thing in the Ice, if he feels like he needs to be attacking earlier in the game, I could buy that. not an ideal thing in the ice matchup, but Ross, he doesn't have all the time in the world. Hanley can break out of even Blood Moon, so he might want to be a little bit faster here. And he's got a lot of ineffective counter spells and bolts he can cut.
Well, we'll prepare to watch game number 2 here in just a moment between Hanley and Merriam. Again, Hanley has the option. He'll likely play first, given the format. Ross Merriam, number 10 on our SCG Tour leaderboard here in season number 1. With Blue Moon, Ross has actually been pretty interesting as far as deck construction and deck selection is concerned. He's been really hopping around humans to elves to Blue Moon now.
He's gone through a lot of phases with modern decks. He played Burn for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Dredge.
Yep, a deck that he thinks is currently unplayable, which I actually agree with. It's a worse Hollow One deck.
Right.
Ancient Stirring is going to reveal an amulet here for Stephen Hanley. We'll go to Ross, who will just play a Steam Vents tapped. Over to Stephen Hanley we do go. We know about the Amulet of Vigor. There's a Radiant Fountain. Trigger will gain him 2 life. And now explore. 1 less mining counter on that Gemstone Mine. Gemstone Mine, such a great fit for this deck because you can reset it with a bounce land. Because there's a Ghost Quarter, there's an Amulet, and we head back over to Ross. An island there for Merriam. It's just going to be a slow start for the control player. At least another Explorer in Stephen Hanley's hand.
Now, what's got to be on Hanley's radar here is the threat of Blood Moon. So if he can avoid it, he would really like to prefer not tapping the Ghost Quarter. If he's going to do it preemptively, that's a different case. Looks like he's doing it just straight away here. Get himself a forest, unlock some of the green cards in his hand, and give himself some cover from Blood Moon.
Might be time to actually cast that second Explorer. There it is. Remand will say not yet.
Man. Love to see it.
You love to see Remand? Tell me more.
Just it's a fun and funny Magic card for me to observe.
Cavern of Souls will name Human. Interesting. Steam Vents tapped, pass the turn back. Engineer Explosives the draw. Azusa, Lost but Seeking. That's a human. A Braid is going to kill the Amulet in response. No land to play, unfortunately, for Steven. Merriam will draw with a Blood Moon in hand. Picked up a copy of Engineered Explosives.
If Merriam has brought in the explosives along with the Braid, he's putting a really heavy premium on being able to blow up Amulet.
It certainly feels that way. Tribe Scout 2. A lesser degree there, but
I
do agree.
But it's not like he can get up to 3, so it's not for Azusa so much.
There's Sulphur Falls.
Well, Jason Bounce, maybe?
It's not the worst line. Going to be tough to kill. He'll Fate Seal
Oh,
instead.
yeah. Never mind. You leave any spell on top. Any spell.
Yeah. Looks like you're back on board with old Jace.
Oh, Active Negation. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have that. Here's Explore. Draw a card. There's a bounce land. Gruul Turf right on time. think Hanley might be sandbagging land, too. Maybe. Going to bring Jace down to 4. Rule Turf is going to pick up Cavern. Here is Cavern. Might be changing what it names this time.
Is it, what, an ogre or something?
Yeah, I hope he said. I hope he just said Rurik Thar. That's what I'm naming. Yeah,
Ogre.
Yeah.
I did not know the creature type off the top.
The Unbowed might be showing up here soon.
Ogre.
Indeed. Jace is brainstorming. Ross is going to put 2 back. Then he'll play a Flooded Strand, sacrifice that. I think a basic island might be on the way. And it is.
As you're so fond of saying, a perfect brainstorm.
That's what I call it.
Look at Jace the Mind Sculptor going to work.
Who knew?
Doing big things.
Who knew this would be a good card? There's Blood Moon.
A great card.
See, now you've got the blue. And you've got the moon.
Right.
Just how he drew it up. Force the draw. And that Pact of Negation's looking extra bad this game. Boy. Jace's going to fall down to 3. That's its starting loyalty. So it's done some nice work this game as Merriam will untap and draw with a Blood Moon on the battlefield. Picked up another island. Remember, he's playing 7. He will brainstorm. 2 and 3. 2, of course, going back here for Ross. It's a bold deck choice. This is not a deck you see a ton of. But between Ross and a Vegas player named Rob Pisano, Blue Moon might begin to get some legs here. Here's Snapcaster. Might be time for an Abrade. Yep, kill that. Ross will untap. Protect the Jace. He's doing a nice job of it. He'll draw.
Fate Seal. Fate Seal him.
Boy, you are fully on board, aren't you?
Oh, another Snapcaster with the Remand in the graveyard. Oh, my God.
Ross will play that defense past the turn. Ross going to separate his non-basics from his basics. Remember, the non-basics are mountain right now. The islands, well, they are exactly as intended. Here is Engineer Explosives for 2.
I think you get to have that one. Ross may want to just cast the Remand for the sake of churning through a little bit here. But this does not warrant a response.
Here is Azusa. And Hanley will pass the turn back. And Abrade will take care of Azusa. Merriam will draw. He will brainstorm with Jace. Jace has been on the battlefield for a handful of turns right now, and that makes life very difficult for any opponent.
Blood Moon cutting off a large range of what can happen here. He's got various Remands ready for any Reclamation Sage that might happen to show up. I do not know if Hanley's going to be able to get out of it this time.
And there's an E for 0 to blow up your EE. Savvy play there from Merriam as we head back over to Stephen Hanley. The other thing you have to remember here, too, is Hanley's got a lot of bad draws in this spot.
Oh, it's almost the whole deck. The game cannot start until Hanley finds a Reclamation Sage.
Merriam is going to play Snapcaster Mage on Abrade. And now he will untap and draw and Jace. Well, this is what people expected when Jace got unbanned.
Ooh, Keranos. Quick little devotion count here.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 6, 7.
That turns it on. You have found it. As I knew you would. You're very much on board with this deck, aren't you?
I love it. I'm a Blue Moon enthusiast.
Oh, yeah, it's what you're known for.
As far as control decks go, this is I just want lock pieces and snapcasters.
That part, I will say, is consistent.
I do not want to play with Lightning Helix.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that sort of thing.
Summoner's Pact is here. I think Merriam's going to say that's totally fine. You want a Reclamation Sage? You got it, I think.
Remand.
There is.
Oh.
There
Dude,
is
don't
remand.
worry. Next turn, pay for your pack. The turn after that, then you're.
Then you can cast it. Yeah.
I hope Ross puts him out of his misery and just cryptics the forest so he can't pay.
Maybe that's what he's opting for. He already knew that card from Jace, so now he'll draw. Karen will do a little bit of revealing. Lightning Bolt might make it easy.
This might just, this kills him, right? 11, 6. He needs to go, okay.
Ross Merriam, not going to Cryptic Command the Forest, but he'll Lightning Bolt instead. He'll win this match over Stephen Hanley, 2-0. Blue Moon going to take care of Amulet Titan. An intriguing first game. The second one, not so much, but this is a very good matchup for Blue Moon.
Counterspells and Blood Moon, and not a whole lot of dead weight. And Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is not a card that Amulet interacts very easily with. It's not like they have bolts or sources of incremental damage. So a lot of good tools there. Game 1 was great, really back and forth. Yep. I didn't think Hanley was going to be able to break out there, but he had the main deck Reclamation Stage. Ross able to win that game anyway. And then Game 2, Hanley never really got his engine going early on, and Ross's Braids, Bolts, Blood Moons picked him apart very easily.
Well, for a Blue Moon enthusiast like yourself, you're going to love what's coming next. We've got a deck tech with Ross Merriam about Blue Moon. It's almost like we drew it up this way.
We weave the decks into the deck techs, into the broadcast, into the ads, and it's just this churn of really of information that you like in isolation, and you like the total sum of it as well.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Watch the deck tech.
What he said. I can't. Just watch it. We're out of here.
Hello, welcome to the sideboard here at the StarCNames.com Modern Open in Louisville, part of the SCG Tour brought to you by Ultimate Guard. Nick Miller alongside BCW's own Ross Merriam. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, Nick.
Now, you're someone who I can always look to in Modern and say, he's not on the same deck week after week. He's always switching it up.
I have been recently.
You've done a lot of elves and humans, but you're always mixing it up between that, and sometimes you're pulling dredge,